to give us an assessment of the Tinubu administration. It's 3 years now. 29th this month will make it 3 years and 3 months. Give us an assessment, especially 3 core areas: it's security, economy, and electricity, for instance.
You're not being fair. He said, if I don't get electricity right, don't vote for me. I think that says everything. But it will be unfair to say that everything President Tinubu has done is wrong. I mean, look, even if all he does is teaches you what not to do, right? There's some value in his administration. Unfortunately, that's all we seem to have been learning through several administrations. I give him kudos for what they've strived to do on education, the NEL fund, I think it should be deeper. I think it's too little too late, but it's better late than never. So I really give him kudos for that. I don't believe that there's a subsidy. I think it's a scam. And
you believe that?
It's a massive, I think it's the biggest scam that has ever happened globally.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, it is massive.
Wow.
But I'll come to that. And this whole thing about, okay, I think the priorities are wrong in some cases. I see him as a man who has a large vision for Nigeria, but is unable to actually articulate it. So people, because you ask me, where are we going? Most people can't tell you exactly what, his mission statement is.
The grand vision.
Yeah, what's the vision and how do you want to attain this? So it's not enough to say we're going to make Nigeria great. How do you want to make Nigeria great? Nigeria is already potentially great. It's to actualize it. So on power, I think he's marked his script. On infrastructure, there's a lot of activity going on there, but I disagree with and I've said this in a forum before, and the minister was the Minister of Works, Engineer Mahi. He responded very politely. He said, I said they wouldn't go beyond Ekpe and for the Lagos-Calabar
Coastal Highway.
They still haven't gotten to Ekpe, but he now says they're doing it in phases and all that. Okay, let's assume it gets to Calabar. I should be one of the happiest people, right, that goes to. I live in Lagos and Calabar, and I've done that route many times. When the road was good, it was an 8-hour drive. So maybe with the highway that they're planning, maybe it'll bring down to 6 or 7. But that's not the point. The point is, can we afford it? Is that our priority now? And at the same time, you say you're doing one from Lagos to Sokoto.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of attention is not there because getting to Badagry, where the road starts from, is impassable. So nobody's even marking that script.
Absolutely.
And I think it was thrown in for political reasons, to placate a section of the country.
Exactly.
But actually, honestly, if you're doing a Lagos to Calabar highway, you should start at Badagry. That's where Lagos starts in the southwest. Not from Victoria Island. So when you're building a road from Lagos to Calabar, but the focus is on the Lagos end from Victoria Island, and at the same time your son feeling the.
You're actually being very polite and nice, because some actually said he's starting from
President
Eco-Atlantic.
President Tinubu is my friend. We're colleagues, we're classmates,
I know.
and I'm an advocate just because you see, I like his guts. I admit it. There are many people who can read meaning to that. That's not the point. He's a determined person. But I don't like where you're taking us. So you don't stop being my friend. But I would challenge you that where we're going, we're all going to fall into a ditch. So you take on this road. The amount of money you've spent so far literally could have fixed the existing roads between Lagos and Calabar.
Wow.
Right? Put it on the drawing plan that, okay, in future, you would do this corridor. Fine. I mean, we're going to use it one day or the other, but it's not a priority. Our priority, for instance, should be education, should be health. You're aware, and these are not my figures. This came from the Ministry of Health, where the minister said he only collected 36 million naira as capital release, but his budget is about 320 billion. So it shows your health is of no priority to the administration. Look at education. I mean, we used to pride ourselves that we were. In fact, we should loan manpower to other countries.
Absolutely.
There's this program that I think started by President Obasanjo when he was, when they give, they send Nigerian graduates to support.
Yes.
There's a name for it. Skips my mind now.
I'm trying to remember it now.
And they did incredible things around Africa, medicine, this, and, around the world. So we used to be a net exporter of trained manpower. Today we have the highest number of out-of-school children in the world, not in Africa, in the world. In a world where you have countries like India with 1.4 billion people, China and all that, and you have the highest number of out-of-school children. It says a lot. And there is no concrete program to deal with it. We just say it, We deceive ourselves that we have the largest economy in Africa. Well, first of all, I disagree with that. But even if you did, and you have almost 250 million people, and your economy, why don't talk about the GDP, the income per capita? Because you see, the focus of government must be the productivity of our citizens. Okay, so our CBN today, their kudos is if the reserves are large. So if tomorrow they announce that we have $100 billion in our reserves, we clap. What does that mean? It means that we have more money to import things.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about how to manufacture things. So our entire economic direction is importation, right, and not production. That is a shame. Okay, so the CBN will be very happy to say, we curtailed in inflation through our drastic interest rate regime, and at the same time we have saved 100 billion or more in our reserves, and we applaud. When you go deeper into that, what you have done is you've built more money to buy from outside. You've increased interest rates to stop production from inside, right? So then you talk of growth. You've grown 2%, 3%. Meanwhile, your population has been growing steadily in excess of 3%, but you've grown 2%. But before you grew the 2%, you crashed the economy by over 100%, right? So if you were at zero when you came in, and you make a statement that brings, or whatever you do, that brings the economy to minus 100, then you go to 98, you clap for yourself, I've done very well. It's voodoo. It's not concrete. It's not thought through. We cannot afford to remain a complacent country because our population is too large for that.
And it's growing.
It's growing. It's too large. If you were a small country, it's more tolerable, right? I went to Equatorial Guinea the other day. They literally import everything. But they produce 295,000 barrels of oil. Their population is hardly 1.8 million people. They produce as much oil as Bayelsa State.
Wow.
So when you look at it, they can afford it for a while as long as they're doing that.
Absolutely.
You cannot afford it because you cannot. Each thing you purchase from abroad, you've sustained a job out there.
Economy.
So yes, I know we can't overnight become an industrial nation, but there are certain steps you take. For instance, if I said all household electronic items, must be assembled in Nigeria. I've taken people off the streets because you have to set up a plant, you have to get people, and they start assembling. If I say that the government will not purchase any car that is not assembled in Nigeria, I'm also creating an industry there, and I'll certainly increase the tariff on the imported vehicles to dissuade people so that they patronize local manufacture. Yeah. So those are things. Try to add value to anything that comes into the country. You can't bring so and so things bulk because it must be rebagged here and all that. Look, this is one I find very funny. You take a beer, or Guinness in my case. I drink Guinness. And you look at them, it's made of barley, malt, and all that. Non-produced. The barley is not from here, the malt is not from here. So you want to go high on the productivity of others in Europe. If you can't make your beer or your Guinness from millet and sorghum, exactly, right, then don't do it at all. If we're going to get high, let's get high on our produce. Then you have these folks who bring in the fancy whiskeys, the Glendovish, the this, and say 40 years, 30 years. You know, when I hear Nigerians say 30 years, 40, they really can't tell the difference. And I've done it once in Calabar. I had some guests come in, and I had this bottle that had 40 years, but it was empty. It was a whiskey bottle. It was, I think it was a Glendovish or something, but really nice, fancy. Then I just poured the basic
Red label.
Red label.
Exactly.
It was a red label. And the clowns that came to my house, when they drank it, they said, oh, so smooth.
Wow.
Well, you know,
Wow.
they couldn't tell the difference.
Wow.
They couldn't tell the difference. So we're pretentious. So
Exactly.
we take wine, for instance, and they give us the wine, we taste it and swirl it in our mouth. And do we know the difference? You know, when did we become connoisseurs?
Exactly.
But the point is, if you're going to import 1,000 liters of Glendovish made abroad, you also must be involved in a manufacturing here that makes 10,000 liters of a gogoro or whatever we can do, flavored, whatever you know. You know, let's get high on our resource, not keeping people working just to live a fancy high lifestyle that really doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.